The marketplace in Lagos buzzed with life as Adanna wove through the crowds, her head wrap bright against the afternoon sun. At 19, she moved with the grace her mother had taught her, though her mother had been gone for 3 years now. 3 years since her father remarried. 3 years since everything changed. Adanna, where have you been? Her stepmother's voice cut through the market noise like a blade. Chioma stood near the fabric stalls, arms crossed, her expensive Ankara dress drawing envious glances from other women. I was helping Mrs. Okafor with her children, Ma. She's been sick and always helping someone, always making me look bad. Chioma grabbed Adanna's arm, her nails digging in. While you play saint in the slums, people whisper that I work my stepdaughter like a slave. Do you know what that does to my reputation? Adanna said nothing. She'd learned that silence was safer. Your father has been invited to dine with the Adewale family tonight. Their son is interested in you. Chioma's smile was sharp. Finally, a worthy match. Chief Adewale's son could give us connections, land, influence. But I don't know him, Ma. You don't need to know him. You need to marry him. Chioma released her arm, smoothing her dress. Wear the green wrapper tonight and smile. For once in your life, be useful to this family. That evening, Adanna sat silently as Kunle Adewale talked about his cars, his businesses, his properties. He barely looked at her, addressing most of his comments to her father and Chioma. When he finally turned to her, his eyes traveled over her body in a way that made her skin crawl. She's very quiet, Kunle said, as if Adanna wasn't there. I like that in a woman. My mother says a quiet wife is a blessing. Adanna's father, Emmanuel, nodded eagerly. Since remarrying, he'd become a shadow of himself, agreeing with whatever Chioma wanted. Adanna is obedient and respectful. She would make an excellent wife. But as the evening wore on, Adanna noticed Kunle's temper. The way he snapped at the housegirl who brought his drink. The way his voice rose when his mother called and he thought no one was listening. The way his hand lingered too long on Adanna's shoulder when he said goodbye. That night, Adanna prayed in her room. Mama, if you can hear me, please help me. I don't know what to do. The next morning, Chioma burst into Adanna's room before dawn. Get up, now. Adanna scrambled out of bed, her heart pounding. What's wrong? Chioma's laugh was bitter. I'll tell you what's wrong. Last night, after you left the room, Kunle told his mother he found you too proud, too educated. He said you looked at him like you thought you were better than him. I didn't. Silence. Chioma's hand cracked across Adanna's face. Do you know what you've done? The Adewales were our chance to rise in society, and you ruined it with your pride. Adanna's father appeared in the doorway, but he didn't intervene. He never did anymore. Chioma paced the small room like a caged animal. You think you're special because your mother was beautiful, because people say you inherited her looks. Let me tell you something. Beauty is worthless without a husband to give it value. I'm sorry, Ma. I didn't mean to. You want to be humble? I'll teach you humility. Chioma's eyes glittered with malice. There's a farmer who came to the market last week, Ejike, from some forgotten village in the east. Poor as dirt, quiet as a mouse. He asked about you. Adanna's stomach dropped. What? He has nothing. A small farm, a mud house, probably not even electricity. He's beneath us in every way. Chioma smiled. You'll marry him in 2 weeks. No, Papa, please. Adanna turned to her father, but he looked away. It's decided, Chioma said. Maybe a life of poverty will teach you gratitude. Maybe when you're working in the fields, fetching water from a well, living like a peasant, you'll remember what you threw away. Adanna fell to her knees. Please, Ma. I'll apologize to Kunle. I'll do anything. Too late. The arrangements are made. Ejike will pay the bride price tomorrow. Your father has already agreed. The next 2 weeks passed in a blow of tears and desperate prayers. Adanna's friends came to say goodbye, their faces filled with pity. She packed her few belongings into a battered suitcase, each item feeling like a stone in her chest. The wedding was small, almost shameful. Chioma made sure of that. No celebration, no dancing, just a quick ceremony at the local church with barely 20 people attending. Adanna finally saw her husband at the altar. Ejike was tall and lean, with dark skin and quiet eyes that seemed to hold secrets. He wore a simple shirt and trousers, nothing like the elaborate agbada most grooms wore. When he looked at her, his expression was gentle, but he said nothing. They didn't speak during the ceremony. They didn't speak during the brief reception. And when Ejike led her to the old truck that would take them to his village, Adanna felt like she was walking to her grave. The journey took 6 hours on increasingly rough roads. They traveled from Lagos into the countryside, past cities and towns, until even the small settlements disappeared. Finally, they turned onto a red dirt path that wound through dense forest. "We're almost there," Ejike said. His voice was deep and soft. Those were the first words he'd spoken to her. Adanna said nothing. She stared out the window at the unfamiliar landscape, tears sliding down her cheeks. The village of Imuna appeared suddenly, a collection of houses scattered across rolling hills. Children played in the dirt roads. Women carried water jugs on their heads. Men worked in distant fields. It looked like something from another century. Ejike's house was small but well maintained, with walls of mud brick and a metal roof. Inside was simple: a main room with a few chairs, a small kitchen area, 2 bedrooms, no television, no Wi-Fi, a single light bulb hung from the ceiling. "I know it's not what you're used to," Ejike said quietly, "but it's clean. And it's yours now too." Adanna looked around, her heart sinking. This was her life now. This tiny house in this forgotten village. She was 19 years old, and her life was over. That first week was the hardest. Adanna woke before dawn to fetch water from the village well. She learned to cook over a wood fire. She washed clothes by hand in a metal basin. Her soft hands developed blisters, then calluses. Her back ached from bending over in the fields. The village women watched her with curiosity and some amusement. They spoke in Igbo, which Adanna barely understood, having grown up speaking Yoruba and English in Lagos. She felt completely alone, but Ejike was patient. He never raised his voice. He never demanded anything. He worked hard in his fields during the day and came home tired each evening. He taught her simple Igbo phrases. He showed her which plants in the forest were edible. He gave her space when she cried, which was often. "Why did you want to marry me?" Adanna asked one evening as they ate dinner in silence. "You don't know me." Ejike looked up from his food, surprised she'd spoken. "I saw you in the market. You were helping a woman whose child was crying. You didn't have to, but you did. You were kind. So you married me because I was kind to a child. I married you because kindness is rare. And because," he hesitated, "because I saw sadness in your eyes. I thought perhaps we could be sad together, and maybe that would make it less lonely." It was the most he'd ever said to her. Adanna didn't know how to respond. As weeks passed, Adanna began to notice strange things. First, Ejike could read and write, which was unusual for a poor farmer. She found books hidden in his room: literature, history, philosophy, all in English. When she asked about them, He simply said he liked to read. Second, people in the village treated Ejike with unusual respect. The elders consulted him on disputes. Young men asked his advice. When he spoke, which was rare, everyone listened. Third, sometimes late at night, Adanna saw strangers arrive at their house. Men in dark clothes who spoke in hushed tones with Ejike. They never stayed long, and Ejike never explained. One afternoon, Adanna was returning from the wall when she overheard two elderly women talking. "The prince has been gone 3 years now," one said in Igbo. Adanna's understanding had improved enough to follow. His father made the right choice, sending him away after the accusations. Better he stays hidden until his brother's plot is exposed. That poor boy, a prince living as a farmer, but he bears it with dignity. Adanna's water jug slipped, splashing water on her feet. The women noticed her and immediately stopped talking. That evening, Adanna confronted Ejike. "Who are you really?" He looked up from the letter he was reading. "I'm your husband. The women in the village, they called someone a prince. They said he's been hiding for 3 years." Ejike was quiet for a long moment. Then he carefully folded the letter and stood. "Walk with me." They walked into the forest as the sun set, following a path Adanna hadn't noticed before. After 20 minutes, they emerged into a clearing. In the center stood ruins of what must have been a magnificent palace, now overgrown with vines. "My name is Ejike Okafor," he said quietly. "My father is King Okafor of the Igbo kingdom. 3 years ago, my older brother Chinedu accused me of plotting to steal the throne. He fabricated evidence, bribed council members, turned my father against me." Adanna stared at him, speechless. I was given a choice: face trial and probable execution, or disappear. My father, who partially believed Chinedu's lies, arranged for me to come here, to live quietly until the truth could be uncovered. Ejike touched the crumbling wall. This was our family's ancestral home, abandoned a century ago. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you didn't choose to be here. You were forced to marry me as punishment. I didn't want to burden you with my secrets." He turned to face her. "But you deserve to know the truth. I'm not just a poor farmer. I'm an exiled prince with no kingdom, no future, and enemies who would kill me if they knew where I was." Adanna sat down on a fallen stone, her mind racing. "So when you came to Lagos, asking about me, I needed a wife. The village expected it, and I smiled sadly. I was lonely. I saw you helping that woman, and I thought perhaps you might understand what it's like to be cast aside by your own family. Chioma wanted to punish me by marrying me to a poor farmer. And instead, she married you to a prince in hiding." The irony is almost funny. For the first time in months, Adanna laughed. It started as a small chuckle. It grew until she was laughing so hard, tears streamed down her face. Ejike watched her with surprise. Then he began laughing too. When they finally stopped, Adanna wiped her eyes. "So, what happens now?" "Now, we wait. My supporters are gathering evidence against Chinedu. When we have enough proof, I'll return and face him." Ejike sat beside her, but that could take months or years. "In the meantime, this is my life. Our life, if you'll have it." Adanna looked at this quiet man, who'd shown her more respect in 2 months than Chioma had in 3 years. "Teach me," she said. "Teach you what?" "Everything. Teach me Igbo. Teach me about your kingdom. Teach me who you really are." From that day, everything changed. Ejike taught Adanna the history of his kingdom, the politics that had led to his exile, the allies and enemies in his family's court. She learned that his quietness hid a brilliant mind and a strategic nature. He had been educated in England, spoke 4 languages, and had been reforming his father's kingdom before Chinedu's betrayal. In return, Adanna helped him in ways he hadn't expected. She had a gift for reading people, honed from years of surviving Chioma's moves. She helped him identify which village messengers might be spies. She suggested clever ways to communicate with his supporters without detection. They became partners, then friends, and slowly, something deeper grew between them. One evening, 5 months after their wedding, a messenger arrived in panic. "My lord, your father has fallen gravely ill. Chinedu is positioned to take the throne. If your father dies before we clear your name, then Chinedu becomes king, and I can never return." Ejike's face was grim. "What will you do?" Adanna asked. "I have to go back. Even if it means facing false charges, I can't let Chinedu destroy everything my father built. Then I'm coming with you." "Adanna, it's too dangerous. I'm your wife. Where you go, I go." She took his hand. "Besides, you need me. Chinedu won't expect you to have a clever wife who can see through his schemes." Ejike smiled. "When did you become so brave?" "When I married a prince disguised as a farmer." They traveled for 2 days, joined by Ejike's loyal supporters. As they approached the palace, Adanna felt her heart race. This was real. She was about to enter a royal court, where one wrong move could mean death. The palace was magnificent. Everything Umuna was not. Gold decorations, marble floors, servants everywhere. But underneath the beauty, Adanna sensed tension, fear. King Okafor lay in his chambers, attended by doctors. He was thin and weak, but his eyes sharpened when Ejike entered. "My son, you shouldn't have come. I couldn't stay away, father. Not when Chinedu is about to steal everything. You dare show your face." Chinedu burst into the room, flanked by guards. He was taller than Ejike, more imposing, with their father's commanding presence. "Guards, arrest this traitor." "Wait!" Adanna stepped forward. Every eye in the room turned to her. "Before you arrest your brother, perhaps you should explain why you've been meeting secretly with representatives from the Northern Kingdom." Chinedu's face went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about, don't you?" Adanna pulled documents from a bag. During the journey, Ejike's supporters had intercepted a messenger. "These letters detail your plan to sell your father's kingdom to the north in exchange for wealth and a governorship. You didn't frame Ejike because he threatened your throne. You framed him because he discovered your treason." The room erupted in chaos. Chinedu lunged for the letters. The guards held him back. King Okafor struggled to sit up, his face a mixture of shock and rage. "Is this true?" the king demanded. "Have I been so blind?" "Father, she's lying. Those documents are forged." "They're not forged," said Chief Okonkwo, the king's oldest advisor, entering the room. "I've spent 3 years gathering evidence. Every transaction, every secret meeting, every bribe. Chinedu has been selling our kingdom piece by piece." The king's face crumpled. "My son, my own son. I'm your son too, father." Ejike knelt beside the bed. "And I never betrayed you. I only wanted to serve our people." What followed was swift and brutal. Chinedu was arrested. His co-conspirators were rounded up. The deals he'd made were cancelled. King Okafor recovered slowly, but the betrayal had aged them. 3 months later, in a grand ceremony, Ejike was officially named Crown Prince and heir to the throne. Adanna stood beside him in royal robes, transformed from a punished stepdaughter into a future queen. "I should thank Chioma," Adanna said that night, as they stood on the palace balcony looking out over the kingdom. Ejike laughed. "For forcing you to marry a poor farmer, for not knowing that sometimes the poorest man is the richest treasure." She thought she was punishing me. Instead, She gave me a kingdom. News of Adanna's transformation spread quickly. Within weeks, her father Emmanuel appeared at the palace, Chioma trailing behind him. They were led to the throne room, where Ejike and Adanna received visitors. Chioma's face, when she saw Adanna in royal robes, was priceless. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. Adanna? What? How? Her father stammered. Father, stepmother. Adanna's voice was cool and formal. You wish to see me? Chioma recovered quickly, her smile oily. My dear Adanna, we've been so worried about you. When we heard you disappeared from that terrible village, we feared the worst. But look at you. You've married well, after all. I married the same man you forced me to marry, Ejike, the poor farmer. Yes, but clearly there was a misunderstanding. We had no idea he was a prince. Chioma laughed nervously. If we'd known, we would never have. That is, we always knew you deserved the best. Adanna stood, and the room fell silent. You gave me to him as punishment. You wanted me to suffer. You wanted me to spend my life in poverty and regret. We were only thinking of your character development. You were thinking of your pride and your cruelty. Adanna descended the throne steps. But you did me a great favor. You gave me to a man of integrity and kindness. You gave me a partner instead of a master. You gave me a future instead of a prison. She stopped in front of Chioma. So thank you, stepmother. Your punishment became my blessing. Chioma's face flushed with rage and humiliation. You ungrateful, careful, Ejike said quietly from the throne. You're addressing the future queen. And I don't take kindly to people who abuse my wife. Emmanuel fell to his knees. Adanna, please, forgive me. I was weak. I let Chioma control me. But you're my daughter, my blood. Adanna looked at her father, this man who had failed to protect her, who had chosen a new wife over his only child. She felt pity rather than anger. I forgive you, father, but I don't. You may visit once a year, but Chioma is never welcome in my presence again. Adanna, you can't, Chioma started. I can, and I have. Adanna turned away. Guards, escort them out. As they were led away, Chioma's protests echoing down the marble halls. Ejike came to stand beside Adanna. Are you all right? He asked softly. I am. For the first time in 3 years, I truly am. She leaned against him. She thought she was breaking me, but she freed me instead. The coronation came 6 months later, when King Okafor officially abdicated, naming Ejike as his successor. The ceremony was magnificent, attended by dignitaries from across Africa. But Adanna's favorite moment came afterward. During the feast, a small commotion at the door, and then Mrs. Okafor appeared, the woman whose crying child Adanna had helped in the Lagos market. The encounter that had first drawn Ejike's attention. Your Majesty, I'm sorry to intrude, Mrs. Okafor said nervously. I just wanted to see if it was true. If the kind girl from the market really became a queen. Adanna rushed forward and embraced her. Mrs. Okafor, how did you get here? Your husband sent for me. He said you'd want to see me. Adanna turned to Ejike, tears in her eyes. He simply smiled. Please, sit with us, Adanna said. You're my honored guest. As the feast continued, filled with music and laughter, Adanna reflected on her journey. From her mother's death to Chioma's cruelty, from a punishment marriage to a palace throne, every hardship had led her here. That night, standing with Ejike on the balcony overlooking their kingdom, Adanna spoke the words that had been growing in her heart. I love you, she said simply. Ejike turned to her, surprise and joy flooding his face. I've loved you since the moment you laughed in the ruins. When you saw the absurdity of it all and laughed instead of despairing, that's when I knew you were extraordinary. You're quite a pair, an exiled prince and a punished stepdaughter. No, Ejike corrected, taking her hands. A king and his queen, partners who chose each other even when the choice was forced upon us. They kissed as fireworks exploded over the palace, celebrating the coronation. And somewhere in Lagos, in a house that had once felt like a prison, Chioma stared at the television showing the royal celebration. Watching the stepdaughter she tried to destroy shine brighter than she ever could. The irony was complete. The punishment had become a fairy tale. The poor farmer was a hidden prince, and the girl nobody wanted had become the queen everybody loved.